We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast.
Boom! Headshot!
Hey, it's Clay. How you guys doing? I got another FTL Faster Than Light commentary. I'm doing this one live as I start a new game. And basically what I want to do is aim specifically at newer players, kind of give my tips and tricks for beginners if you're just getting into FTL, just kind of some of the basics. I'm not going to go through a full gameplay, just going to kind of try to cover the basics overview. And I'm going to start with the Kestrel because that's the starting ship. I've started to unlock some other ones, and they're Type Bs, which I think is one of the really fun elements of this game. But we're going to start with the Kestrel, start a new game on easy, and just kind of give my tips. So for newer players, the first thing that I would recommend is, let's see here. Let's go ahead and get things situated. I want him back. You want to kind of space out your crew members. So one of the things about kind of the introductory things about crew members is if you look over here, you have all these different areas in which crew members can level up: piloting, engines, shields, weapons, repair, and fighting combat. So basically, you want as much experience as you can, and so you want to have one person dedicated to each of these stations. So you want one guy on pilot, you want one guy on weapons, you want one guy on shields, and on engines, and then eventually I'm going to get one guy on shields, and you want to leave them there as much as you can so that they can level up. Because basically, what will happen is if Weston here gains, gets these 15 levels of piloting, my evasion will go up +5, and that's going to make me harder to hit by the enemy ships. So that's a really, really good tactic that you really want. Now, just in terms of overall ship mechanics, just kind of understanding these things, I would say that the two that you need to focus on most, especially early on, are shields and engines. Especially getting, if you buy 20 and 30 to get to 2 shield bars, that can be a huge, huge bonus just to make you take more damage. I mean, basically, early on, if you have 2 shields, any opponent who has laser-based weapons is not going to be effective against you at all, and you're going to easily wipe the floor with them. You're a little bit susceptible to missiles, but that's kind of where your engines come in. That gives you the dodge chance. Basically, shields and engines are kind of your defensive matrix, if that makes sense. Shields prevents weapons or like lasers and laser beams, stuff like that, from taking hull damage, and then your engines gives you a chance to dodge. You want both of those up as high as you can, as quickly as you can. It just is a huge benefit. There's really no reason not to. So let's go ahead and talk about the map next. So your first idea is to get these guys into dedicated places. Your second idea is to start focusing on upgrading your shields and engines. Then after that, on your map, basically the tip that I have, the most basic tip, is to get in as many sectors and get in as many fights as you possibly can. So with this type of a situation, I could explore, or it's too dangerous. I want to explore. Basically, in all of these instances, I want to visit as many of these star areas as I can before I move on to the exit, because that's going to give me the most amount of scrap. So again, I found this dude, and this is totally fine. I want to attack him. We're just going to use this for now. I mean, really, truly, when it comes down to it, the whole nature of this game is that you want to get as much scrap as you can to upgrade your ship as fast as you can. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. You really want to make sure that you're focusing on that. It's really important, because you may make it through. You may make it onto the next sector, but the enemies are going to scale up in difficulty. They're going to get harder and harder. And you want to make sure that you're ready to go on to the final boss. You want to make sure that you're prepared. And the only way to do that is to make sure that you're focusing on your shield, on getting as much scrap as you can. So I like to play aggressively in the beginning of the game. I like to get in as many combat fights as I can. And even visiting these nebula sectors where it slows down the enemy fleet, that's a really good idea, because then you can visit more star sectors. Now, again, this is another situation where I could ignore him, or I could, actually, I think purchase this unknown weapon may be a quest marker. So I think I'm going to do that. Uh-oh. Okay, so he pretty much stole that scrap from me. That's not cool. So basically, like I said before, you want to get in as many fights as you can because you want to get as much scrap as you possibly can. It's extremely important. And you want to visit as many areas as you can so that you get as much scrap as you can. That's pretty much the whole basic premise. Then, I mean, really, then the only tip that I have after that, I am not accepting that deal. You got to give me everything. Basically, the biggest thing that I can say after that is that you want to make sure that you are, kind of taking the game as it comes. You never really know, in terms of offense, you never really know what the best route to go is until you actually get into the game. And depending on what kind of ship you choose, that can kind of help dictate your strategy. But I mean, a lot of it really depends on, just kind of the game has an element of randomness, and you just kind of have to accept that randomness, and just kind of go with it, kind of run with it, because really there's not much you can do in terms of, it's difficult to say, okay, I'm going to go for a boarding type of a gameplay where I'm going to get a crew teleporter, and I'm going to teleport onto their ship, and I'm going to kill other guys. I'm going to do that every game. I mean, some games you just don't have the capability to do that. So it's hard to really dictate ahead of time what you want to do. The best way to take the game is to kind of take it as it comes and play more of a reactionary style where, if you happen to get a lot of drone parts, then use drones. But if you happen to get some really good weapons, use weapons. It's really helpful to just be reactionary and not try to dictate a certain style ahead of time. And that can work. There are certain ships that definitely make certain playstyles a little bit more effective. The Kestrel is kind of an all-around ship, though, so especially starting out, I would say that the best choice is to really take things as they come, just because you never really know what you're going to get. Now, another really good idea is to really take your time and be patient, I think. So here we go. I do not want to accept their bribe. I want to attack because I think I can get more, and I definitely think I can take this guy. So what I mean by that is, in this type of a situation, using your pause mechanic is always a good choice. So I see that he's got weapons. He's probably not going to be able to hurt me. So I really don't feel like I need to use my missile because this laser is only going to touch my shields, and then this beam is not going to do anything because my shields are going to be back up. I think I'm actually going to accept this. So again, with a lot of these little decisions, it's really good to just take your time, kind of evaluate the situation as it comes to you, and be patient because there's no rush. In this game, really has an interesting way of kind of making forcing you into situations where you have to make split-second decisions, and it's definitely. I think I'm gonna buy this. It's definitely an interesting game in that regard. It definitely puts you in interesting, unique situations where you have to make decisions and think quickly, and a lot of times I find myself getting in trouble because I am rushing. So I definitely want to aid the civilian ship. This is one of the things I talked about earlier. You want to get in as many fights as you can, so this is good. Now, let's see here. Now, kind of to get into a little bit more of an advanced tactic in terms of fighting. So with these, it's good to learn the type of weapons. It's good to know what type of weapons you have, and it's good to know what type of weapons the other player has. I have a burst laser, but burst lasers are susceptible to shields, whereas the missiles can go through shields. So that's a huge advantage. But the thing about missiles is that you have a limited number. So you want to be kind of cautious about using missiles if you don't have to. Now with this guy, he's got a laser, so that's going to knock my shields down. But then this, I don't think is actually a weapon that can damage me. So I think I'm going to be okay. Yeah, it's more of an ion cannon, so it more depleted my, one of my systems. So I don't think there's any way for this guy to kill me. So there's no reason for me to use a missile, because I'm easily going to be able to handle him with my burst laser. So just being aware of the type of weapons that you have, the power consumption, all these different tactics is always a really, really good choice. Yeah, I'd be happy to take a new crew member. Thank you, buddy. Justin, welcome aboard. You're going to man my shields. And another thing to do is every time you get to like the end of a fight like this is to just take a moment and really pause, make sure everybody's healed up, maybe make sure everything is fixed. There was one time before where I went to the next sector, but I hadn't fixed a couple of my systems. You want to make sure everything is at full capacity. You never want to, rush full steam ahead into a new area without making sure that you're fully prepared for what you're going to find. Again, I want to get in as many fights as possible, so I'm going to attack this guy, especially early on. The game, especially on easy, is something that you can handle. The Artemis, the Burst Laser 2 is a really solid weapon. The Artemis as well is a really solid weapon. The Kestrel is a good ship. You're going to be able to win a lot of these fights early on, so you might as well get into the fights if you can, just because it's going to be a good choice. Now, I kind of wasted a volley there because the shields were already in red, so there's really no reason to continue to attack it, especially on a ship like this, which is more of an automated drone, because he doesn't have crew to heal himself. So once it's in the red, it's permanently in the red. So really, he can't do anything right now, and he's just gonna die at the next volley. So that was easy. All right, feeling good. Nice. Thank you for that weapon. Appreciate it. One missile does 4 damage. Nice. Okay, here's another tip. Distress calls are always good. You always want to go to distress beacons because usually you can get a nice high payout. With this one, it's kind of a toss-up. Okay, that was okay. That was a moderate reward. Not really the best, but I'll take it. Another little quick tip is, in a situation like this, you really want to plan out your route ahead of time. So, for example, if I go this way and this way, and then here, that's kind of a long route to the exit, and depending on how quickly it'll be able to advance, I think I might only be able to get 2 jumps left. So you really want to make sure you plan out your route. I want to attack. Ooh, another thing, I'm pretty sure in the options menu right here, this is something you want to enable. So when I was clicking on those routes, it was showing me the possible choices that you could go to. That's a really good idea. So yeah, overall, I think I'm probably going to wrap things up here. In terms of quick basic tips, I've really kind of covered it. From here, it's helpful to really make sure you learn the different weapon systems, the different drone mechanics, all the different ways that you can kind of create an offensive ship. But really, in terms of basics, that can apply to almost every style or tactic. Things like getting your shields up. I haven't invested in them yet, but I'm definitely going to want to do that very soon. No, we don't want to let him get away. Oh, shoot. Okay, so I really want to make sure that I'm going to get this guy out of here. So overall, this game is definitely about making good choices, and a lot of that is making sure you know what's going on. Investing in shields and engines, though, is a really safe bet. It's always a good choice. You're always going to want that. But, from there, there's a lot of other ways that you can take things. There's a lot of ways that you can, make different decisions and really tailor the game to your playstyle, which I think is one of the coolest things about it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut things off here. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want some more playthrough action, I'm definitely going to be continuing to play this game because it is flippin' awesome. If you'd like some more advanced different tactics, talking about different strategies and different ships, I would be happy to do some of those types of guides as well. Just let me know. But I hope you guys enjoy this. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.